Have you ever felt completely alone? Like you're crossing an arid desert where every step is a struggle and God seems distant? What if you discovered that this desert isn't an accident, nor a punishment, but rather a divine classroom? In the next few minutes, we'll explore together the profound purposes behind spiritual deserts and how to emerge from them transformed. Before we understand the why, we need to define the what. The spiritual desert is that period in our faith journey where we experience 1. Deep loneliness, even when surrounded by people. 2. Emotional and spiritual dryness, prayers feel empty. 3. A scarcity of answers, the heavens seem closed. 4. A feeling of abandonment, God, where are you? But here is the first important revelation. The desert is not a sign of God's failure, but part of the divine curriculum for our formation. In the Bible, almost every great leader went through a significant desert before their greatest ministry. Moses 40 years in the Midian desert, Elijah fleeing to the Jezreel desert, John the Baptist growing up in the desert, Paul 3 years in the Arabian desert, and Jesus himself 40 days in the desert being tempted. Do you see the pattern? The desert is not the exception in the spiritual life. It is the rule for those God wants to use profoundly. Let's dive into the first aspect, loneliness. Why does God isolate us? The answer is deeper than we imagine. First purpose, to teach U.S. exclusive dependence on HIM. When all human voices fall silent, when counselors are gone, when support fails, only God remains. And it's in that place we learn what David expressed in Psalm 62. My soul waits in silence for God alone. From him comes my salvation. Second purpose, to break our idolatrous supports. We all have a tendency to place our security in things other than God, in our pastor, our friend, our spouse, our ministry. The desert systematically removes each of these supports until only God remains. Third purpose, to give U.S. spiritual ears. In the noise of the city, in the bustle of ministry, in the many voices, it's hard to hear the still, small voice of God. The prophet Hosea captured this perfectly. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. Hosea 2:14. Fourth purpose of loneliness, to prepare U.S. for true communion. Do you know why many people can't relate deeply? Because they never learn to be alone with themselves and with God. The loneliness of the desert cures our unhealthy dependence on others and empowers us for healthy relationships. Now let's move to the second aspect, scarcity. Why does God allow lack precisely when we need things the most? First, to teach divine provision, not human. In the desert, there are no supermarkets, no jobs, no financial security. Everything comes directly from God's hand, like the manna for Israel. Scarcity forces us to experience God as a provider in a supernatural way. Second purpose of scarcity, to redefine what we really need. In the city, we think we need 1,000 things. In the desert, we discover we only need God. As Paul learned, I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low and I know how to abound. Philippians 4:11-12. Third purpose, to awaken our spiritual hunger. Physical hunger in the desert is a mirror of the spiritual hunger we should always have. Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied." Matthew 5:6. Physical scarcity awakens a spiritual appetite that perhaps was dormant in our abundance. Fourth purpose, to teach us the value of enough. In the desert, Israel learned to collect only the manna needed for each day. Scarcity teaches us to live on our daily bread, trusting that the God who provided today will provide tomorrow. The desert has a specific curriculum that cannot be learned anywhere else. Let's explore some of these unique lessons. Lesson 1. Radical self-knowledge. In the silence of the desert, we are forced to face who we really are, without the distractions, without the titles, without the masks. It's where we discover our true strength and our real weaknesses. Lesson 2. purified faith. In the city, our faith often depends on visible answers, tangible blessings. In the desert, we learn to trust in the God who is good even when the circumstances are not. The faith that emerges from the desert is unshakable because it was tested in the fire. Lesson 3. Character under pressure. The desert reveals what is really in our hearts. As God said through Deuteronomy, "And he humbled you and let you hunger and fed you with manna, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." Deuteronomy 8:3. Lesson 4. Expanded spiritual vision. In the desert, far from the city lights, the stars shine with intensity. Spiritually, it's the same. Far from worldly distractions, we begin to see the greatness of God with a clarity never experienced before. Knowing the desert has a purpose is one thing. Knowing how to cross it is another. Here are some practical guidelines. Guideline 1. Do not race against God's clock. The desert has a divine duration. Trying to leave before the time is right might mean having to return later. Israel's 40 years in the desert weren't necessary because of the geographical distance, but because of the spiritual distance they needed to travel. Guideline 2. Gather the daily lessons. In the desert, God gives grace for one day at a time. Don't try to store up revelation for a week, seek fresh bread for today. Yesterday's grace doesn't sustain you today. Guideline 3. Maintain spiritual habits even without feelings. In the desert, discipline precedes devotion. Pray even when the prayers feel empty. Read the Bible even when it seems dry. Obedience in the dark prepares you for intimacy in the light. Guideline 4. Beware of the desert's temptations. Jesus was tempted precisely in the desert. Loneliness and scarcity make us vulnerable to shortcuts, quick fixes, wrong compromises, despair. Remember, every temptation overcome in the desert produces spiritual authority in the promised land. How do you know when the desert is coming to an end? God gives us a few signs. Sign 1. A new perspective on the desert itself. You start to see purpose where before you only saw pain. You start to be grateful for what you've learned. This indicates the desert's work is complete. Sign 2. An inner strength that didn't exist before. Like Jacob after Peniel, you might walk away with a limp, but with a spiritual strength you never had. Character has been forged, faith has been purified. Sign 3. Clear vision for the next step. In the desert, the vision is blurry. When God starts to clearly show the next step, it's a sign the season of waiting is ending. Sign 4. The ability to bless others even in your own scarcity. When you can minister life to others even while you are in the desert, it's a sign that God is finishing His work in you. The desert is never the final destination. It is always a corridor to the promised land. But pay attention. The promised land, requires more maturity than the desert. In the desert, God fights for you. In the promised land, you fight with God. In the desert, provision is miraculous. In the promised land, you plant and harvest. They are different dynamics that require different levels of maturity. The great truth is this: the desert prepares you to govern. Joseph in Egypt, David in Israel, Jesus in ministry, all were prepared in the desert to govern in the promised land. The period of loneliness and scarcity is the intensive training for the period of influence and abundance. Therefore, do not resist the desert. It is your greatest ally for the fulfillment of your destiny. So to recap, the spiritual desert is not punishment but preparation. It is not abandonment but God's focused attention. Loneliness teaches us exclusive dependence on Him. Scarcity reveals His supernatural provision. If you are in the desert today, take a deep breath. God has not lost track of you. He intentionally brought you here for a transformation that only happens in the desert. Trust the process, embrace the lessons, and know that the promised land ahead is worth every difficult step of the journey. Now I want to hear from you. What has been your greatest lesson in the spiritual desert? What insight from this video spoke most to your heart? Share in the comments. Your experience can help other desert pilgrims. If this content brought light to your journey, share it with someone who is crossing their own desert. And subscribe for more content that unites biblical depth with practical application.